That was great. Did you feel the earth move or was it me?
No, it was me. That's my powers, dummy. What is that smell?
I think we're surrounded by death.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's right. You killed a bunch of people right before this. Should we go for round 2?
Yes.
All right. I'm the top this time.
Oh, okay. Hi, everybody, and welcome to episode 132 of Comic Book Queer's Legacy. I am your host, Brett. That was Rictor and Shatterstar having sex. And this is my co-host, Evil Jeff. Hi.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm good. It's the same. Like, what day is it?
Day 47. Still no comic books.
I know.
I found a delicious Cheerio on the floor.
Oh my God. But
are you coping? Are you doing okay?
Yeah, I am. I'm much better now. Things have my anxiety has kind of settled into just chronic malaise.
Yeah. Yep.
I do feel though we've been exploring gay iconography in comic books, gay icons, if you will, and I think it's time to start with the first. I believe let's talk about it's the first gay kiss in a Marvel comic or any comic.
It is the first same-sex kiss in mainstream comics.
There you go. And I think we need to fucking talk about it.
I think we do need to talk about it. And it's X Factor 49, 45? X Factor 45 is where that happens. Yes. Peter David's X Factor. We need to hone in on that. And by that, I mean we need to hone in on... Well, actually, Evil Jeff, you and I, we took on different assignments, did we not?
We did. Brett here, we have a nose for news and the heels to go get it. And I'm telling you right now that we each took on different characters and jumped into the research bandwagon, because why make each of us read all of this shit? And we're going to kind of come back with the research of what we discovered. So Rictor is going to be talking about Shatterstar and Rictor, and I will be talking about Anole and Greymalkin Rockslide and some of the other cohorts going along with it.
Oh, I thought you were just going to cover Anole.
I am, but that connects to. There's a lot of other weird things that connect to him.
Oh, sure. Like, I'm going to talk about Wolfsbane and blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
But yeah, so welcome back to our CBQ Icons series. This time we are tackling Rictor, Shatterstar, and Anole. I love it. Should we get right into it? And by that, I mean right into Rictor and Shatterstar.
I want to get into Rictor and Shatterstar.
So I'm going to be talking a lot. So, Evil Jeff, just offer me some thoughts on Rictor. Just extemporaneous, top of your head. I say Rictor, you say...
I say mohawk and leather vest. That's how he first showed up. But here's the thing, is Rictor changed. He's a character that has very much changed over time. Like, when he very first started, he was, like, super vain and like, ooh, I'm just like the shit. I'm awesome. And then he kind of got a lot more serious in X-Force. And then when he was in X Factor, he kind of got turned more snarky. And then I feel once he was in that reboot of the New Mutants, he was like super snarky. And I think that's where we've left him. So he went from vain to like snarky. That's my hot take.
Yeah, I get it. Reboot of the New Mutants. Which one is that?
The one where it was like Guido and Magic and...
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. The Matthew,
Rosenberg one. Yeah, just the one from like a year and a half ago.
Yeah, Dead Souls. Loved that. Rictor, he's from a crime family in Mexico. His family's a bunch of criminals, a bunch of gun runners. So he's always been kind of a hard ass surrounded by hard asses. Really no signs of struggling with sexuality early in his comic book journey. A lot of struggling with powers, which is always kind of a yellow pink flag in mutantdom for the boy mutants who for some reason I just can't get in touch with my powers. Well, you're probably a homo.
Yeah.
So
was it that they were too like he couldn't control them, or he couldn't get them to come up, or?
I mean, both.
Okay.
A lot of not being able to control, which I feel like is also a Quake thing on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. People with earthquake powers typically can't control them.
Or the fast color.
There you go. So really the first sign that Rictor is gay, to me, is when he chooses his superhero, his mutant costume in Exterminators after his, origins as an X-Factor kid. When he chooses to wear a black leather vest with no shirt as his mutant outfit. That to me is the first okay, that was
very Tom of Finland. Yeah.
Very Tom of Finland.
Oh, is someone going to the Eagle?
Are we going to the Eagle? So Leather Queen, first red flag. Do you know who his first quote unquote crush was?
Can you tell me which run?
In New Mutants. In New Mutants leading up to
wasn't it Boom Boom liked him, but then he liked Rain?
Boom Boom liked him, but he liked Rain. Boom Boom, here's another pink flag, wore some provocative clothing to get Rictor's attention once around New Mutants 88.
And it didn't work.
And it didn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although, so she went. But here's the thing, though. I thought Rictor was bisexual and not gay.
Oh, we'll get into that. But I'm telling you now, he's not bisexual. He's gay.
Oh, he did one of those. See, it's those gays that start off by saying they're bi because they feel it's a toe dipper. Yeah. They give real bisexuals a bad name.
They sure do.
So I just want to give a shout out. Hey, if you're gay and you're scared to say you're gay and you just want to say you're bi, just say you're fucking gay.
Just jump to gay. Yeah, come on.
Because if you say you're bi, that means you still have to fuck women. And if you don't want to fuck women, then you're not fucking bi.
Which means you're going to use and lead women on. So just dive in the pool. Don't do that to women.
And now there's real bi people. And every time they do try to date, a bi guy tries to date a girl, they're like, oh, you're just really gay.
You're probably just gay.
And you're fucking it up for them. Anyway. Do you know any bisexual people?
I do.
Do they have that struggle?
Yes. Yes, they do.
All the bi people I know have chosen to live in one world and then every once in a while dip into the other side.
Right.
Because it's too hard to just go back and forth.
I may know a bisexual man or two who, kind of keeps it on the DL because women kind of don't like that thing because they assume gay.
I also know some gay guys that every once in a while it's like, oh, I just fucked this girl. And I'm like, what?
What?
I'm like, oh, every once in a while, it's fine. Just fuck a girl. And I'm like, no, I don't know what you're talking about.
So Rictor will actually address this at some point along his journey.
Perfect.
So he's hooking up with Wolfsbane. We're talking Extinction Agenda, Executioner Song. At this point, he's rocking
they never
the green...
kiss or anything.
Oh,
it's like flirting, right?
They do kiss.
When?
They do kiss during one of those crossovers. I want to say it's the beginning of Executioner's Song when she's with X Factor and he's with X Force.
Oh, so she's already can't turn back to human form at this point.
She bites his lip and draws blood.
She's a wolf at that point.
Yeah, so that was their kiss, and he's like, "Ow, fuck, bitch."
Was she also over Havoc at that point?
No, not by any stretch. At this point, his hair is out of fucking control. It just goes on forever. It goes on forever. Long, but it's teased.
Oh, it's like 80s hair.
It's like hair metal.
He's in a metal band.
It's insane. And so, and this is when, especially in the book X-Force, artists were emulating Rob Liefeld. And so everything is just such trash. It's so trashy and horrible. It's so horrible. It's so horrible. Early X-Force is unreadable. It is and then they go into that external shit. So I was, funny story, along this journey, I was looking to see when Liefeld stopped writing, and then when Fabian Nicieza started writing, and then when Jeff Loeb took over. Liefeld only wrote, by himself, I think 9 issues, the first 9 issues of X-Force.
They bailed for Image quickly after.
Quickly, yeah. Anyway, so she bites him. All right. He's in X-Force. It's around issue 34 that Rictor and Shatterstar start kind of becoming friends. This is when Danny Moonstar was part of the MLF, the Mutant Liberation Front. And she confronted the team, and the team was like, "What the fuck, Danny? What the fuck are you? Why are you evil now?" And she is reading each one of them for filth. And she's like, "Don't judge me. You this and you that." And she says to Rictor, "You've been hiding behind the tough guy act for so long that you've buried your insecurities and doubts so deep that they're festering like a cancer now."
How does she know? When did she ever hang out with Rictor?
Right. I'm like, bitch, that's a little presumptuous, but she is right.
I know. She's like,
she is right.
Because that's the thing, is she used her powers on him, and the fear powers showed his fear of him getting it on with the dude.
Right.
Or greatest desires or whatever.
So there's a moment, I had no idea about this moment, but I was like, oh, this is why they're a couple, kind of. We'll get into that. So, again, we're talking the high 30s, early 40s of X-Force.
Wait.
Shatterstar.
Okay, but that's Shatterstar. Before we get into, I feel like you're really heavily focusing on Rictor. Do we need to backtrack and lead up to where Shatterstar is up to this moment?
I'm doing that right now.
Okay.
So Shatterstar's on the team, and him and Rictor, they're fine. And all of a sudden, Shatterstar is like, "Oh, Rictor, will you..." They're having the fight with Danny Moonstar. Danny Moonstar walks out. Shatterstar walks in. He's like, "Rictor, can I talk to you for a second?" He's like, "Not now, Shatterstar." And then Shatterstar says "Hey, I got to tell you something about your family that I just saw." But he says it in Spanish. And Rictor's like, "Whoa, when did you speak Spanish?" And Shatterstar is just like, "Oh, I learned it in case you and I want to communicate privately while we're in front of other people, whether those be enemies on the battlefield or when we're in front of our friends, but we want to talk about something highly personal." And I'm like, what?
So they've already had sex at this point.
And we'll get into that too. That was the first gesture. It was on Shatterstar's side. He was the one who did something kind of above and beyond and special, not Rictor.
Yeah.
So, a few issues later, Rictor and Shatterstar go to Limelight in Chelsea.
Okay.
They're surrounded by women, and Rictor's like, "Come on, dance with all the girls." And then this girl is dancing with Shatterstar, and she puts her hand on his dick. What? And Shatterstar freaks out and runs out of the club.
How is that in a comic book from the 90s?
Right? He's like, you're putting your hand toward, I have to go.
Does Shatterstar have 2 dicks?
We'll get into this.
Okay.
The caption reads, when he's running out, "What will it take to make this lonely young man come alive for the first time in his life?" I think by come alive, they mean come.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm so glad you segued into this, Evil Jeff. So Rictor's like, "Yo, buddy, wait up." They're outside, and Shatterstar is like, "Look, I've never been with a woman." And Rictor is like, "Look, neither have I." Shatterstar is like, "I've never felt that way before."
What issue is this of X-Force?
43.
Wow.
I've never felt that way before. I think he means horny or like developing a crush. I don't know, but it freaked him out. So Rictor goes, do you have a dick? Rictor's like,
what does he really say? What does he really say?
Rictor's like, are you like physically equipped to see that kind of thing through? And Shatterstar's like, oh yes, no, I've been equipped to emulate human physical relations and, to do I have everything I would need except for the emotional connection.
Oh, wow. Now, at this point, what do they think Shatterstar is? Do they know he's from the Mojo-verse?
Yes, they know he's from Mojo-verse, and all they know is that he's got he's eerily similar to Longshot. They keep saying that.
Was he created to always be Longshot's kid?
I don't even know how to answer that question. We'll get into like his origins and stuff. Like I cannot make sense of his entire origin story. I know it's been explained to us. It's still kind of confounding, but I don't fucking know. Yes, Dazzler had him. I don't know.
Okay.
I read it all and I still don't know. So anyway,
is there more of that? Like, does the friendship, do they keep referring to the like, close friendship as it goes on?
Shatterstar is like, basically, I don't know what it means I can't feel love. And Rictor says, we'll work on that together. By the way, do you know what happens?
Who's writing this?
This is, I believe at this point it's Jeff Loeb.
Okay.
I think Jeff Loeb is the one who started really creating that subtext.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what happens right at the end of this conversation? Like they have the conversation and then, Age of Apocalypse. They turn to Crystal and it's Age of Apocalypse.
What?
Yeah.
What a weird way. Has he ever done an interview or anything of like, has he ever said that he was insinuating that they were gay? Or is that just something that Peter David read into? Or is that something do you know if the fans then were like, oh, they're together?
It was the fans. It was absolutely the fans. Peter David said he has never received, the thing he received fan mail about the most was activating or following through on the Rictor Shatterstar relationship.
Fascinating.
And Peter David was like, oh, no doubt. No doubt these two are gay. I'm going to make it happen. He
probably reread it and was like, yeah.
Yeah.
What other fun little tidbits of their relationship?
So Age of Apocalypse happens, and then they come back, and then we pretty much go right, and like it's like right after Onslaught. We get into so the X-Force moves in with the X-Men. So it's after Age of Apocalypse. One of the changes is that X-Force is going to start operating closer to the X-Men, and they move into the mansion, which means they're going to be surrounded by telepaths. Okay?
Okay.
Including Cable. Guess who has such a problem with being in a house with telepaths that he quits the team?
Rictor.
Yes. Oh, what's the problem, Rictor?
I don't want you knowing that me and Shatterstar are knocking boots at night.
Right. Now, what brings him back to the team?
Shatterstar.
Shatterstar's in trouble. Shatterstar needs him. Shatterstar is being held captive by X-Force because he like went crazy. This is where we get into like, is he Shatterstar? Is he Ben Russell? Like that weird Mojo-verse arc where like Dazzler's there, but she's doing nothing. And you get into kind of sort of the origin of Shatterstar, but it makes no sense. It's like he was dying in the future in Mojo World, so Longshot brought his soul back and put it in the body of a comatose mutant named Ben Russell. Like super weird.
Oh yeah, all of that stuff where there was like the other person, like the Ben Russell person.
Yes.
I don't get any of that.
Oh, I just read it. I still don't get it.
I don't understand any of that.
But Cable and Shatterstar are kidnapped to Mojoverse right when Rictor comes back. And Rictor is able to have a conversation with Shatterstar before he's kidnapped and taken to Mojoverse. Like, I'm back, baby. I'm here. Not baby. I'm back. I'm here. Everything's going to be fine. We're going to work through the Shatterstar. Is like, seeing your face was the first time I thought everything was going to be okay. I'm like, Jesus. So Rictor, this whole arc, when they're trying to rescue Shatterstar, he is so angry. Like, he's so furious. And everyone's like, Rictor, what's your, like, we're going to save him. Relax. Don't tell me to relax. Like, he's really worked up.
Yeah.
So they quit together in like X-Force 70. And you kind of don't really see you don't see Rictor again until X Factor.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then X Factor, he shows up trying to commit suicide, right? That's the next time you see him.
Yeah, on the roof. And then one of Madrox's like X Factor wildcard dupes pushes him off, but Monet saves him. And he stays with the team even though he's depowered from M-Day. And the first instance of us raising an eyebrow. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me back up. The end of the Mojoverse storyline. The final lines between Rictor and Shatterstar.
It's like, let's get some lube.
Shatterstar says, I'm just so glad to have gotten to the floor of this. And Rictor says, bottom, amigo, to the bottom of this.
Oh my God. Terry Sue Bottoms, anyone?
Bottom, amigo, to the Terry Sue Bottoms of this. Sorry, X Factor. Wow. So it's X Factor 14, Peter David.
What's his first inkling of then? Does he? Is it the first time when he outright says it, or does he? Is there other inklings before he says that he's like attracted to men?
It's somewhere in between. X Factor 14, Rictor is having a drink with Jamie after an ordeal with Quicksilver, where Quicksilver kept promising Rictor that he was going to get him his powers back, and he didn't.
This. And he says something, and you're like, what? What does he say?
Yeah. So Madrox is like, Rictor makes a joke about sleeping with Quicksilver. You know, he's like, no, I was spending so much time with him just because he told me he can get my powers back. It's not like I was sleeping with him anymore, you know. And then Madrox spit his beer out, and then he's like, what? And Rictor's like, I'm just kidding. I would never be with Quicksilver. I mean, I'm cool with the whole guy-on-guy thing, but Quicksilver's awful. And then Jamie is kind of like unfazed, and he's like, yeah, and besides, you wouldn't want to make Shatterstar jealous. And then that's when Rictor spits out his beer.
There we go.
That was the first time when, X fandom went, oh, yep.
I remember that. Oh, that's awesome.
Yep.
But doesn't he outright, before even Shatterstar comes back, he outright says he's bi or something, right?
No, it's not until Shatterstar. I mean, maybe he does. Maybe that's where the bi came in. I didn't read. I don't know where he would have said that.
I think maybe it's like, or something, because I think when, I do know, well, let's get into it when Rain comes back and gets real pissed off. I think that's where it happens, when he's talking to Rain.
It is.
Because I think he's like, no, I did love you.
Well, it happens before that. So,
okay.
It happens when he kisses Shatterstar.
All right.
Which happens in X Factor 45.
And at that point, that was when I did read that issue again. I was like, we're going to talk about this, so I'll read this issue. Yeah. So there's what is the name of the bad
Cortex?
Guy Cortex, who ends up, spoiler, being just another dupe, an evil Madrox dupe. But apparently he had, which, we talked about it last issue too, the last episode of course, like Shatterstar was being mind controlled and trying to kill everybody.
Yeah.
And they finally released it. And it's the last page. there is Shatterstar finally back to his senses, and then Rictor's like, oh no, and they're like, Rictor what do they say to each other? Like, it's kind of like, oh, you're back, it's okay, I'm here. And then they just fucking start making out. And
Shatterstar just kisses him, yeah.
Yeah, and then it just cuts to Guido.
Guido goes, well, I didn't expect that to happen.
And that's the first kiss, the first gay kiss.
That's the first gay kiss ever in mainstream comics. And then it's a few issues later, we cut back to them, and they're on a road trip. They're headed to Detroit. It's Shatterstar, Guido, and Rictor. And this was interesting. So Peter David said making this choice for Rictor and Shatterstar also opened up things in other characters that he got to explore, like Guido's quote-unquote liberal hypocrisy, where Guido is this kind of liberal guy, like, writes for everybody. He's cool with everybody, but it turns out, not comfortable around gay men.
Yeah.
So that was something to explore. And because Guido is just making joke after joke after joke about it. So on that road trip, Rictor does say, Shatterstar and I were involved long before Rain and I were. So that's the going. So that made me be like, you know what? They were fucking during X-Force.
Wait a minute. But didn't... So, whoa. Well, I guess, he didn't really kiss Rain until it was X-Force. Like, they were just flirting and it was New Mutants still.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Maybe they kissed at some point. I think they might have kissed during the Asgard story arc, now that I think about it.
But
during the New Mutants in Asgard, they might have kissed then.
Awful run.
Yeah.
Anyway. But then Rain comes back, and does she like see them kissing or something? Or
so they're about to
some kind of freak
they're
out.
naked. They're naked, and they're about to fuck, and it's super fucking hot. Like, you start to realize just like how hot Shatterstar must be.
Yeah.
You know.
Well,
and
that's the thing.
You're like,
and he's Rictor, the son, because that's the one thing with Longshot. The one thing always about Longshot was that he was insanely hot.
Yeah, everyone.
Like, do you even remember when Kitty Pryde was a ghost and was discorporating and dying, and they were flying her to Myrrh Island? She literally comes out, risks her life just so she can molest Longshot and kiss him while he's asleep, which is sexual assault. Al Franken, Kitty Pryde. Anyway, so if he's the son, he's the dad. Wait, he's the dad and the son. He's probably just equally as hot. Although that's the thing, you have to remember. Does he have blue eyes?
I don't know.
think so. Blonde hair, blue eyes. That Hitler wet dream does nothing for me.
No, it's kind of weird.
I like a brunette. I like some swarthiness.
I like a Ryan Murphy boy. Yeah.
Yeah, or like a hot Asian, a hot Latin. Like blonde hair, blue eyes, it's just too Ken doll for me.
Yeah.
But if Shatterstar was like, hey, do you want to fuck? I'd be like, all right, I guess so.
I mean, he's just so fit.
So does Rain walk in on them like while they're in bed together?
So before this, though, they get into a big fight, like outside in the streets of New York. Rictor and Shatterstar, they get into a huge argument about what their relationship is. And like Shatterstar's like, I want to fuck other people, like, but I don't want it to hurt you, and like I don't want it to mean anything, but this is just fun, and like I want you there with me. So basically, Shatterstar wants to have an open relationship, even though he says he doesn't. Rictor flat out, he's like, so you want an open relationship? And Shatterstar's like, no. He's like, but you want to screw other people? He's like, oh, that's what an open relationship is? Yeah, I do. Like they're Rictor's so mad. Like at one point, this old couple walks by and they like look at them fighting, and Rictor's like, "What are you looking at, old man?" It's really intense.
That's the one thing that has been carried through, whether I feel it's snarky or bitter. Rictor has a temper, which I guess
Rictor has a temper.
I guess that's kind of racist that he's like the Latin guy with a temper.
Yeah.
It's kind of
but the earthquake person always has to have a temper.
Well, I guess it's more the earthquake then. Okay, I'll go with that. All right.
So that's where Rain walks in. It's like they're about to fuck, and Rain, who has not been in the book for ages at that point, walks in, and
she was in X-Force, right?
Yes. So Rictor thinks it's his, is the weird part.
Okay. So that means they've had sex.
Yeah.
All right. Does this now just suddenly blow your theory away? Did you just
No, but he explains to her, like, I'm gay, like, and I've always been gay. It just took me a while to realize it, essentially. Okay. He gives her that speech. And, like, when she says, oh, Rick, did I turn you gay?
I did not know you were gay.
He's like, you did not turn me gay. And she's like, oh, Shatterstar turned you gay. He's like, no, I turned me gay.
And he's like, don't get religious on me now, bitch. You ate your dad.
You ate your dad.
I just ate his ass. I ate an ass. You ate your dad. You're the one going to hell, not me.
There's nothing really else of note beyond that until we get to the Shatterstar limited series, I want to say.
No, no, the end. Well, I mean, let's talk about the end of X Factor.
Oh, sure.
With they go off to the Mojo world together, and yes. Finally, Peter David's like, I'm going to just definitively say what this is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is fucking... I will say the nice thing about Peter David and why I love him so much, he's like, hey, you know these loose threads that Chris Claremont and all these other people never dealt with? I'm just going to tie these up for you.
Sure.
I love that he does that shit. So he did make it that Rictor and Shatterstar go to the Mojoverse, got sent back in time, and end up making a clone. They clone him.
Of Shatterstar.
They clone Shatterstar to make Longshot, and then Longshot and Dazzler end up getting together and having Shatterstar.
Right. So they exist on like a loop to one another. Yeah.
Crazy.
Which would fuck up one's sexuality, I'd imagine.
Yeah. True. But then we don't see them again until Rictor shows up in the New Mutants? Really?
Yeah. Yeah, and they seem okay. You know, Rictor, would you tell Shatterstar to put some clothes on? No.
Although Rictor is... Well, I mean, just one thing about Rictor's character. Rictor is the first depowered mutant to get repowered.
In the Children's Crusade.
Crusade.
By Scarlet Witch herself. Yeah. Yes.
Which I thought was just such an amazing gift.
And you know what's amazing also is that he was a very prominent character in a high profile book for a very long time with no powers.
Yeah.
He was their hacker. He was their computer guy.
Yeah.
X Factor Investigations.
God, I loved X Factor Investigations.
Yeah.
Looking through that, I was like re-looking at the one where he absorbs his baby, the whole Layla Miller stuff. Yeah. I mean, that kind of shit the bed in the end.
I hated the Layla Miller stuff, but
I liked it when she was a kid.
Oh, I loved it. When
she grew up and then it was like, oh, this is her powers and this is how she knew stuff.
It made zero sense.
That I did not like as much. The whole thing in the beginning, though, where she's like, go stand on this corner this time.
Exactly.
I'm Layla Miller. I know stuff. Like that was kind
a download of information. Amazing. You can't tell me a download of information is going to know when like a leaky pipe burst.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so Rictor... Dead Souls, but then also the Shatterstar limited series where it's actually quite touching where they find out like, and this is something that was in X Factor was it's revealed that Shatterstar can teleport. And it's revealed that he'll need like an anchor. He'll need to have like been there before, or like he just needs an anchor to find where he's going. And he says to Rictor, like, you know how I need an anchor when I teleport. I also like my heart also needs one, and like you're my emotional anchor to Rictor.
Oh,
and it's very nice. It's very lovely, and the Shatterstar limited series, it ends with Shatterstar kind of teleporting, drifting through space, and then a portal opens up and Rictor pulls him in. And you find out Shatterstar's teleportation powers operate on vibration, and Rictor's powers do too. And Rictor and Shatterstar, they're in tune with each other's wavelength. And that Shatterstar limited series ends with them realizing that they literally are on the same wavelength. And that they can find each other no matter what. It's beautiful.
And that's the one that just came out like last year, right?
Yeah.
Although they were kind of like but then it would seem like they were kind of like broken up at the beginning of that. right?
Yeah, they were angsty. Yeah, and Rictor was, very much so. Shatterstar was running the apartment building for wayward dimensional creatures, and Rictor was operating kind of like a bar that was kind of like an underground railroad for mutants. But they very much come together at the end.
But are they still together?
No.
No.
No, they are not. I just reread Excalibur.
Did they mention in Excalibur why they're not together?
No, but there is... Well, so when we cut to Rictor, he's super depressed, and he's lost controls of his powers again. So let's assume why. Before he's rescued by Apocalypse and brought into the Coven, he is on a message board where there's a number... it's like Reddit, and there's a number of things about Krakoa. And
your power's weird since Krakoa started, like that stuff, right?
Is there a power dampener on Krakoa? Someone keeps asking, is there a power dampener on Krakoa? And someone else is like, no, I don't think so. Why do you ask? And he's like, well, I'm just afraid when I get there, my powers are going to go crazy. And the person's like, well, what kind of powers do you have? He's like, none of your business. And the person's like, well, do you... And this is all like typed out like on a screen. Do you have anybody that can go through the gate with you and hold your hand in case something bad happens? And Rictor replies, no, thanks anyway.
Oh.
So they implicitly call that out. And so Rictor is now finding himself without Shatterstar.
But he's exploring new sides to himself. He's becoming a druid. He's making out with British monster gay guys.
Yeah. Turning them down when he realizes how racist and horrible they are.
Yeah.
So he's living his best life.
Yeah. And then Shatterstar, has he been seen on Krakoa?
Oh, I do not know. I want to say yes. He's in a panel somewhere.
Yeah, but he's still not featured anywhere.
No.
Interesting.
So there you have it. I mean, Rictor, another one who angry... angry and frustrated for some reason, disconnected from his powers from time to time, really dives in hard to a relationship with just one other male character until a writer has the courage to call it for what it probably is. And now he's dove so hard into this kind of alien hot boy, this alien fuck boy, that, he's... happy, sad, depending on how Shatterstar is feeling at the time. So,
should we go into Anole?
Let's dive into that reptilian gay boy.
Anole. Now, you're aware of the original, what he was made for.
No.
So... In 2000, during Grant Morrison's run, towards the end of it, they started, because they started the school and there were so many students, they decided to start concentrating a comic on students. So they called it New Mutants. And it's weird because it was New Mutants on the cover of every issue was like all of the old New Mutants. However, they were not the star of this series at all. It was Danny Moonstar and Rain showed up for a bit. And then, how do you say her name? Shan? What?
Shan.
And so Karma and Mirage, they show up as teachers. So they're teachers and it's all about the new students. And one of these new students who just in the beginning just literally is always just walking around is this lizard guy that people call Victor. And eventually he keeps on showing up. Now it turns out that they actually printed the comic and then changed their mind at the last minute and rescinded the comic. Now, Elixir, did you read this run of these where then it became New X-Men?
Yeah.
So it's the beginning where it was like Wind Rider,
Wind Dancer,
but it was also like Mercury, Hellion, Dust, Elixir, all of them first showed up. Now, when Josh Foley Elixir first showed up, he was actually part of Donald Pierce's Reavers, and he hated mutants. But in the middle of an attack, his powers came out, and he healed someone like one of the bad guys on his team. And then they were like, you're a mutie. And then he's like, fuck, I guess I have to go to Xavier's now. And they take him in, but everybody hates Josh because he used to be a Reaver.
Oh, wow.
And he actually ends up becoming, like, he was rooming with Prodigy. But Prodigy hates him. And then he starts becoming friends with Hellion. And what they wanted to do was the Victor character was going to end up having really homophobic parents during Parent Day. And them saying something super homophobic leads to Victor in front of everyone coming out to his parents. The parents reject him. And then Josh and Hellion are like, ew, you're gay. We don't want to be friends with you. And then the next day, he commits suicide. Anole kills himself.
And none of this saw print?
No, this was written, drawn, and sent to the printer, but
What
did
happened?
not ever get released. And they burned the copies like Dazzler's first movie. Anyway,
did something happen in the real world that was like, ooh, this is not a good idea?
That's the thing, is I don't know why. But eventually the reason that they did it, is that was the turning point that made Josh realize that because Hellion was like, he's dead. And then Josh was like, oh my God, I caused him to die. I'm an awful person to cause Elixir to turn good. But I think they realized it made Hellion too bad. And it was also just very
awful.
extreme. And then it was like very like, oh, we're just going to brutally kill this this only gay character. So they just decided to scrap that. And that's where I was like, okay. So I guess then instead they just have him come out. So I start reading this damn comic again. Like, where does he come out? There's one part where he then goes to Shannon. He's like, oh, you can be my advisor. That's good because I am having some difficulties. It's hard for me to talk to the other students. And she's like, you can talk to me about anything. That's it. Nothing about being gay. I'm like, well, he's got to come out gay soon. Northstar dies. I'm like, oh, there it is. There we go. This is where he comes out. He gives the eulogy. Northstar meant so much for me. You guys don't understand how much it meant to have him as my advisor. Does not come out as gay. I am like, when the fuck does he come out as gay? And
Lizard Boy?
What?
Lizard Boy, come on.
Yeah, he doesn't really, and he's just always shows up every once in a while. He's never part of a main plot. He's always just randomly showing up in something. And it wasn't until like halfway through his appearances that you actually realize he has like a long tongue. It isn't until, there's even one where then Northstar comes back to life, but this is in the X-Men comics. And in the X-Men comics where he comes back and he's an assassin from the Hand, do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
He starts trying to kill everyone, but there's one person he can't kill. Anole. He sees Anole and he goes, run.
Oh.
And then Anole's like, you're back, you're alive, I missed you so much. And he just punches him in the face and runs away.
Oh.
And he's the only one that he doesn't try and kill. Still, it's never said. So it's this weird thing where it was all just understood that he was gay, but he never says it. And I was kind of like, this is bullshit. Why can't we just say, like, why does it all have to be hidden? Like it's a secret, like it's something bad. And it isn't until Yost and Christopher Yost and Scotty Young's run of the new X-Men where Ileana comes back to life. And that's the first time where we actually see Anole's real character. Anole, like, okay, you asked me about this about Rictor. Who is Anole? What character is that, if you had to describe him, besides gay?
He's like the cute little boy, like the innocent one, right?
Well, innocent, I'd say more.
Like if this were the brave little toaster,
dependable.
Blanky. Oh,
like,
okay,
but he's
sure.
like he's definitely the more reasonable. Let's do the good thing. Let's do the right thing. Yeah, and that's the first time you really see when all of that is going on. He's the one that's like kind of voicing reason, and it's also the first time that you see him and Rockslide have this banter. they start having this like, we're good friends, but they always have this fighting going on.
Yeah.
Very much like they fight like an old married couple. And that started right at the beginning of that run. And in it, that's where they end up being sucked into limbo, and a demon chops off Anole's arm.
Yes.
And that is where you find out it grows back even bigger and stronger and spinier. And that's where you realize, oh, he has many different lizard chameleon powers. Because do you know what all of his powers are?
Does he have like chameleon blend-in powers?
Yes.
Okay.
He has that. He can stick to surfaces. He has the long tongue. He kind of like has Toad's powers in a way.
Yeah.
But he also can blend into backgrounds. And if you chop off a limb, it will grow back even bigger and stronger. And so when all of this is over, there's an amazing 2-issue run of the aftermath of what Limbo and all of this is also when they were all depowered. And then the purifiers came and blew the bus up of all the depowered mutants as they were leaving.
So awful.
And then the purifiers came back and then murdered even more of them. I was like, they were fucked up. And basically, the X-Men at this point, it was Colossus, Kitty Pryde, Beast, Emma Frost, Cyclops are all together and Wolverine. And they're in a meeting basically like, these kids are fucked up in the head. What do we do so that they don't become basket cases? Yeah. And it starts going back and forth through each X-Men, each new X-Men and how they're all dealing with it. And Anole is playing pool with X-23 and Rockslide. And X-23 is like, I can cut off your other arm. You want me to just cut it off? I can just cut it right at the several artery. And like, and she's just like, you should just do it because then you'll have. And he's like, no, we're not trying. And the Rockslide's like, what are you, a sissy? Come on, sissy.
Ooh.
And then Anole goes, what did you call me? And then it cuts back to Beast and Wolverine like walking on the campus, and suddenly Rockslide flies out the window with Anole attacking him. And Rockslide's going, I'm sorry, I didn't know.
Oh, wow.
So that's the first time that it's like officially, and it still isn't said until the next issue. All of the new X-Men are sitting around, and then Rockslide's like, hey, everybody, we need to bond. We need to share our innermost secrets. I'll go first. Victor is gay. And that is the first time where you actually, it took, and this is at the end of the run. So it's literally like 40 issues past of all hidden little things. And finally it says he's gay. And then Victor joins the Young X-Men, which is the book that takes place.
Oh, and he was in that.
He shows up on issue like 4.
With like Wolf Cub and Grey Malkin, right?
Yes.
Match.
Yes, but before that, in X-Men Manifest Destiny, there's a one-off short story between him and Northstar, where Northstar shows up and Victor is living back at home, and he's like, come to San Francisco and live with everybody, all the X-Men. And Victor's like, no, you're all awful. And everything I went through, I don't want to go there just to die. You guys don't give a shit about me. Yeah. But then you find out that Anole is so PTSD fucked up that anytime like his dad like dropped something and then he thought it was an attack and he almost like killed his dad. So he's like so like ready for battle. He's like, I can't live here either because like I'm just trained. And he's like, well, you need to come back. And then he's like, no, I hate you. And then Northstar's like, but you know, we understand each other because we're both gay. And then Anole is like, fuck you, asshole. You weren't. And then he's like, oh, and by the way, this is for when, remember when you punched me in the face when you were evil? And then he elbows Northstar in the face and gives him a bloody nose and he goes, leave. So there's like this weird short story of like Victor being really bitter. And then in the Young X-Men, Rockslide's like, that was the other thing is Northstar goes, Rockslide misses you. I never knew you were into rock. Like, he's like, I never knew that was your type. What? But then Rockslide says he misses him, and so they recruit Anole to come back to the Young X-Men.
Yeah.
And that run is garbage.
Oh, it's trash.
It's where
it's
Ink
real bad.
and Cypher are introduced.
Real
two
bad.
of the worst characters ever.
And Grey Malkin also, right?
And Grey Malkin. But Grey Malkin doesn't even come out. There's a weird thing where Victor's always like, I'll be there for you. Let's hang out. Let's hang out. And then there's another one-off in like a Divided We Stand X-Men thing where Grey Malkin then comes out and is like, because he's been buried under the Xavier Institute for 200 years. He's Xavier's like great uncle or some shit. And it turns out his dad and his dad in the 1700s caught him making out with a stable boy and murders him and buries him. But because his powers are, he's invulnerable in pure darkness, he stayed alive. I was like, why are we treating gay characters so awfully? Like, Victor never gets a boyfriend. He's always a side character. Even when they introduce two gay characters, are they having sex? Are they dating? Are they doing anything fun? It's like, no, here, tell me your story about how your dad murdered you because you were kissing a boy.
And how you were buried alive for 200 fucking years.
I know, it's fucking brutal. And Anole is always just the side character. He's always, for some reason, it's like, and then there's a few ex-students, throw in Anole. Come on, just throw him in there. I love how I keep saying Anole, like aioli, like aioli. I feel like it sounds like fancier. Otherwise, when you say Anole, it sounds like garlic Anole.
I always just called him a hole.
A hole. Anally.
How do you pronounce Lizard Boy's
Anole.
name?
I actually went to like a Lizard YouTube channel and they were like, here is the green Anole. And I'm like, okay.
Oh.
But here's the thing is that he finally gets some sort of redemption and someone finally addresses it. And I don't know who the writer is. Remember it was a woman. I'd have to pull it up right now, but it's Extraordinary X-Men. Remember Extraordinary X-Men?
Yeah, when he leaves the school to go on a date?
Yes, with Nightcrawler's run.
Yeah, and don't they send North Star to go find him?
Yes, and Lady Mastermind starts fucking with him.
Yeah.
Just for like no reason to be awful. And basically, he's been chatting with this guy, won't show his face, and this guy's waiting for him, but Victor pansies out. And Lady Mastermind's like, oh, I'm going to fuck with him. And basically, it's like, ew, you're a lizard, you're ugly, you're so ugly, you think I would ever be with you? Yeah. And starts fucking with him. And then North Star shows up, and then North Star's like, come on, we're both gay. And that's finally where Victor is like, fuck you, you're gay, but you're a fucking model. Like, you used to be a model.
Right.
So don't fucking say you're the same person as me. I have a fucking long-ass tongue and lizard skin and scales all over. My arms are different sizes. Like, who wants to date me? Who'd want to fuck this? Gay men are the shallowest pieces of shit. Half of these gay men don't date people unless they're white. They put that in there. They're so I mean, he doesn't say all of this, but it's all implied.
He did a Monique. Like, who gonna love me?
You think they're gonna you think who's gonna love me? Anyway, they beat Lady Mastermind, and then North Star's kind of like, I'm sorry, like, I'm a dick. Let's go have sex. No, he doesn't. But he ends up just walking up to the guy whose name was Gnome. And he's like, hey, this is me. You knew I was a mutant, but this is what I look like. I got scales, and I know it's probably like too much for you, but whatever. I just feel like you should know this is who I am, and that's why I didn't show up to the date. And then the guy grabs his hand, and he's like, let's go get a drink. And then they walk off hand in hand. And I was like, oh, this was the first time like they addressed all of the issues with him. And I was so happy.
Right.
Yeah. And then even since then, the only other interesting thing that happened is that he got sucked into the future for a year with Ernst and Glob and became super muscular.
Wait, when did that happen?
That was in, do you remember what was that run? Oh, why can't I think? There were so many. Was it, Amazing X-Men?
Okay.
No, that was the Age of X. Was that an Age of X-Man? It was one where it was like, don't you remember where, like, it was the Colossus got sucked into the future, with Ernst. This is just like a couple years ago, like 3 years ago,
okay.
2 or 3 years ago, with Ernst, Glob, the one that's just a brain,
Martha. She's always with Ernst.
And Victor. They get sucked into the future, and then they get separated from Colossus, and Colossus gets fed an apocalypse seed and it's a future where apocalypse rules, and then Iceman and Storm and Wolverine have to go to the future and rescue all of them. But by the time they get them, a year has passed, and there's a whole issue where it goes like day 1, day 20, where all of them are alone trying to survive in this world and getting older and getting stronger, and their powers are getting more advanced.
Yeah.
And so that was all very interesting. However, by the time like the age of the X, but now he's back to looking the same again. So he got super muscular, and I looked up, like, reading. Someone actually wrote like, but it seems that the amount that he worked out during this time wore off and hasn't been working out as hard because he now has reverted to his normal appearance.
Well, I know it was a big deal that he didn't have the big arm in like the Age of X-Men stuff. And I remember like Jordan D. White, the editor on Twitter, he's like, look, he's appeared so many times without it. We just didn't give a shit.
I know. And that pisses me off. Me off.
Oh, yeah. It's an extraordinary X-Men.
They don't give a shit about him. So that's the thing, is the side gay characters are really thrown to the side. Because that's the thing. We have 2 other gay ex-students that I think are very important. And that is Benjamin Deeds.
Mm-hmm.
And what was his name? Was it Gabriel? No.
Nathaniel,
whatever. What was his
Hindsight.
name? Hindsight. Those 2. And I loved those 2 characters, but it's kind of like, are we really going to see them again at anytime soon?
Right.
So,
we have Gray Malkin, too. We never saw him again.
Yeah.
Because he sucks.
Stupid. But he doesn't have powers in daylight when there's light. He only has powers in darkness.
Yeah.
That's the most useless character ever.
So Anole, have we seen him on Krakoa yet? Has there been a meaningful Anole appearance?
Yeah, he was one of the people when the Golden Girls, who are the Golden Girl characters?
Oh, yeah.
They knock him out. Like he's one of the guards of one of the gates or something.
Yeah, okay.
But he did show up. He was one of the main characters in the what was the Age of X-Man?
Yeah, he was the one who was sneaking into like the Apocalypse cult.
Yeah, because
he was like stealing things, and
because he was like, I'm gay and I want to be able to suck dick. Don't tell me I can't love.
So is he like not a twink anymore? Do we think he's going to be permanently beefy now?
No, that's what's saying is since Krakoa and all, they're back to drawing him as a kid.
Oh, gotcha. Yes.
But what was that called? What were the runs? It wasn't before when there was Uncanny X-Men. What were the
when he was in the future?
Books? Yeah.
It's extraordinary. Blue? It's extraordinary X-Men.
That's the one where, okay. He was like huge, big, and muscly, and it looked like his other arm matched his other arm. Yeah. But then they just went back and were like, that didn't happen. Because they don't care about gay people.
Because they don't care about him.
Unless it's Iceman. Because
they think fans don't care about him.
Yeah.
Fucking shit, Marvel.
So here's what I'm saying is, let's end with this. What would, if we, let's start doing like, because granted, if Iceman had to start a gay group, let's just say there was like a gay comic, and like he decided to start a gay group because there's backlash of them all wanting to procreate and the gay people not wanting to do that.
I love it.
And then for some reason, because they're always going out on fun outings, they end up having to do battles and stuff like that. So I'm trying to think of who are the gay characters that would be on this team. We have Anole. We have Gray Malkin. I guess we got some Rictor, maybe Shatterstar, Iceman. Benjamin Deeds,
Nathaniel,
maybe
Prodigy,
Quentin Quire.
No, I think he's straight.
I think he's one of those guys where it's like, hey, if I have 3 beers, I'll suck your I'll let you suck my dick.
Yeah. Yeah, like he'll take his sock off and put his foot in your face just like to laugh about it.
Yeah. Who? And then there's Bling. Karma.
Right.
What other gay characters are we missing? Is that all of them?
Well, I mean, if we've got Psylocke is a bisexual.
Right. But was she only bisexual because she was sleeping?
Because it was like a female Phantom X?
Because it was a female Phantom X?
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe. Yep. Oh, we have so many.
But that would be a
big team. It would be a fun team. The drama. Oh, could you imagine?
But can you imagine how, like, I would love to see... Oh, but you know what? This is the other thing that I would love. Is I really do feel they lost an opportunity. Because Anole and Rockslide, they also had, when they were in San Francisco, there was, like, a little side run of them fighting crime in, like, masks together. And doing their little banter. And I'm like, why can't they be together? I think Rockslide and Anole should be a couple. And if I was writing this, I would make that happen. And you know what else I want to do? I think we should go... I would love to see some backstories. I would love to see X-Force, like, runs showing Rictor and Shatterstar having sex in old X-Force runs.
Hell yeah.
I would love to see a side story. You know what else I want to see a side story of? I would love to see, in, like, 1910, Mystique and Destiny being evil... before Magneto and eating each other's pussies out.
Absolutely.
Can you imagine if there was like a Victorian age, like, well, that's not Victorian, or whenever, like, Edwardian age comic of like Destiny and Mystique being badass lesbian bitches, killing like the Jack the Ripper and shit like that? Come on.
I would cast Sarah Paulson and Holland Taylor in a second.
Ah! That would be amazing. And then they would really eat each other out. We'd be like, you have to do the sex scenes.
It'd be real sex scenes. Okay. Wow, I love it.
I love it.
Yeah, but I wish there was a book featuring all the gay characters. Well, I mean, there is X Factor, maybe, coming up. We've got a ton in there.
Oh, Dakin.
We have Dakin, we have Prodigy, we have Northstar, we have Rachel.
Ugh. What? Oh, so when are comics coming out again?
May 27th.
27th. Ugh.
Marauders number 10.
Kitty Pryde better come back to life.
Fuck. Or at least like Iceman better find out about Christian.
Yeah. Something needs to happen. Because we've been waiting for a long goddamn time. Hey, do you know what about any of our independent comics? Like, are the Something's Killing the Children, things like that. Are any of those going to be coming back any soon? Do you know?
I think, I'm not sure. It really has been so different by publisher.
Yeah.
We should take a look at more than the Marvel. I've only been looking at the Marvel listings for. And it's still like a handful of books coming out each week. It is kind of like a slow build, it feels like. Yeah.
But so that will be not this, but isn't it like Tuesdays now instead of Wednesdays?
I have been seeing Tuesdays in articles, but
Tuesday.
I don't know. Is that just because they ship Tuesday? I have no idea. What does that mean?
I don't know. I just heard someone said it's going to start being called Comic Book Tuesday instead of Comic Book Wednesday.
Oh my God. This pandemic has changed the world.
But that's right. Next week, we are going to do another Icons. And the week after that, we're going to go back to talking about comics.
Yeah.
Comics.
So excited. So yeah, next week will be our final Icon series. And don't forget, in the meantime, all through May, we are doing that fundraiser for the Bink Foundation, which is sending checks to comic shop owners who have not been able to do business. While it seems like they will start to get some business back, it's still very important that we help because they took quite a hit. So please give a donation to the Bink Foundation. That's BINC. I think it's the Books Industrial Charity. Yes. It's Bink, BINC. And send in either Twitter or email at cbqbrett@gmail.com your confirmation. And at $5, $25, $50, and $100, we've got different incentives that we will give you for donating. So please do it.
Please.
And then, Evil Jeff, do we want to discuss what we want to do next week, or should we keep everyone guessing?
This time we always talk about it. Let's keep people guessing.
Let's keep it close to the vest. Yeah.
Hey, why don't tweet at us? Tweet at us. What do you? Because we mentioned doing DC people.
Apollo.
And people were like,
people went fucking nuts.
Fuck DC. Although there were some people that were like, oh, you can do it.
Yeah, one guy was like, oh, that was my idea, and I was like, sorry, dude, the crowd has spoken.
But I think. Throw it out your way, because if there's some huge consensus, maybe we'll change what we're thinking of doing.
Mm-hmm.
Because, hey, we can't think of everything.
Right.
Can you do our job for us, please?
Please. So excited to do another Icon series, and then so excited to talk about books.
And I'm so excited to read comic books because...
Oh my God.
Because guess what? I haven't been reading comic books, so I've been straight.
Ew!
But now I'm going to start reading comics, because guess what? If you read comics, then that makes you...
Queer.